I have to do 1,000, but the employees that I get paid for, and I'm not sure you got this?
It's, I'll just say right away, it's been a great response. We've had a lot of people coming out and a lot of people clicking on the live stream. So, I mean, literally hundreds of people view the live videos, which is really great to see people all over the country actually are checking in and watching it. And we've had a great response here on Saturdays, but we're going to be moving it to Friday nights. So this is the last Saturday, and then it's going to move to Friday night at 5:45, 6 o'clock or so. And the next one will be next Friday night, and it'll be Cheryl Bernardi. She is a licensed massage therapist, and she'll be talking about the vagus nerve. So if you've never heard of the vagus nerve, it's a very important nerve in our body, and it affects our physical and our emotional and our spiritual subtle bodies. And so she's going to be talking about what that does and how it affects us and things that we can do to calm it to keep us in a higher vibrational state. So it should be really good. So hopefully you can join us on Friday. So today, Firefly, I'm Karen Wolf, Dan Gorney. We are going to be presenting today on the 12 layers of DNA, which is, we'll just put a disclaimer in here right away that we have to keep an open mind here with this discussion. Because what we've been told is that we are a double helix, and it contains proteins, and that makes up our body. That's about 4% of the DNA, and the 96% is junk. Well, it's junk because Newtonian scientists don't really know how to explain it. But when we go into quantum physics and quantum science, we start to get really good explanations. So it's going to be some things that you may have never heard before. And again, just keep an open mind, take from it what resonates with you, and if something doesn't resonate, hopefully nothing offends, because we don't mean to offend. But we're going to be just presenting this as it's been presented to us, and as we've been asked to give this information out to the public. So again, just take what resonates with you, and I think you're going to really enjoy it because you're going to realize that you are not junk, and you're so much more than these little few particles of protein that we've been told. So you get to have some fun with this, and it's going to be very empowering. And when you hear the information, you're going to maybe go, I don't believe this possibly can't be true. But it is. So hopefully you have fun today. Dan's got a nice presentation. He's got some handouts to give you so you can kind of follow along with it. And enjoy and get something to eat or drink. If you would like to donate to the nonprofit, I don't think the nonprofit is for August. Is it August already?
Yeah,
it's August.
a little bit.
A little bit in August. So we'll figure out who the nonprofit is. They usually have something up at their counter there, or you can donate to the Kanjani Water Project, which is building the wells in Africa for the people that don't have water. And they've already raised enough money since they've been open to establish, I think, 2 wells. So they're already out there and they're doing it. So it's a fantastic cause. So you can, if you feel so inclined, you can donate to that. So thank you, and I will turn it over.
Thank you.
Katie, would you like to
So welcome to Kunjani series, and thank you for actually responding to this quite controversial and unfamiliar topic. 12 layers of DNA, what is it? I know DNA has been lately a very popular topic, and a lot of people do record on that. And I want to, right away give a disclaimer. I'm not a biologist, and I don't know much about the biochemical processes which take place, which are incredible. And my cousin is a professor of genetical engineering in Boston, and we sometimes have this conversation with him. So whenever I speak from my energetic perspective, he's like, all right, you know, and when I give my perspective, he goes, well, you don't know enough about what you're talking about. And he's absolutely right, because when it comes to human genome, which is the biological layer, I don't know anything about it, and he does. And it's incredible research that has been done in this field. They cracked open, you know, most code there. You know, so that's incredible. But we're going to talk absolutely about a different topic here. So, little historical perspective. I was introduced to the concept of layers of DNA, 12 layers of DNA, about 8 years ago. And when I was hit with this information, it was just it was so eye-opening. It was almost stressful to the extent that I needed to rethink all the concepts that I knew before. You will hear, you know, the highlights of it, because I didn't know how to structure today's talk. There's so much information that I want to deliver. Yet, it has to be delivered in a proper way, and just have an open mind. That's my only request. And you have free will what you're going to do with this information. But what I know for sure, you can't unhear it. Once I'm going to deliver it, you will know. It will be too much of reference. You might not recognize it as something value right now, but that will be a point of reference going forward. So, just to start, most of the research and most of the information that we received was from Lee Carroll's book, The 12 Layers of DNA. Incredible book, we'll talk about it later if you're interested. I can show it to you, you can check it out. Profound information. We'll talk about what it is. Before that, I want to talk about number 12. There's something about that number on this earth that's quite significant. We know that there are 12 months in a year. Like, why 12, right? There are, you know, if you take most of the profound things, 12 hours AM, 12 hours PM, there are 12 keys on the piano. There's 12 notes. If you go, you know, up note, it's total of 12. You know, you can give me other examples, I'm sure, that you can resonate with. Zodiac signs. You know, there's 12 zodiac signs that complete the cycle of 12. And astrology. So, 12 apostles, but maybe not. So, with this in mind, just keep that in mind, that 12 is quite a significant number in this, on this earth and in this universe. So, let's go a little further. We all familiar with chakras, right? So chakra is the Sanskrit word which stands for the wheel, for the motion, for the spinning. It's the vortexes in our bodies which are connected to the universe and conveying information back and forth. We receive information, we share information through our chakras. How? We feel. The feelings, emotions, we feel it through chakras. So we know of 7 chakras we mostly talk about. We're going to talk about 12 chakras today. And the 7 chakras are, and you will see why I'm connecting that and relating that to our topic. So we know that 7 chakras is easy to work with because they're within the body. So there are 7 chakras. By the way, the 12th number, I want to the thoracic vertebrae, how many of them? 12. How many of the cervicals? How many of the 7 and 5? 12. So you got 12 here, 12 there. So there's something about that, right? So we always need to just encourage you to question things. We're talking about 12, a lot of things. Yeah, the 7 chakras. Why just 7? Because 7 are within the body. The other 5 are beyond. But we got there. So here is the little roundup about the chakras. Quick recap. So 7 chakras within the body. The first 3 are chakras of survival, sexuality, and perceptual feelings, right? So base, sacral, solar plexus. Then we have the 4th chakra, which is our heart, the center. So the 4th is the center of compassion and connectedness to all. So when we're talking about centering ourselves, this is about just being around our heart. So the 5th chakra is the throat chakra, which is your communication and speaking. The 6th chakra is your 3rd eye, the vision, the intuition. The 7th chakra, now listen to that. It basically opens the knowing that one's identity goes beyond the physical form. So this is your edge, this is like the point of connection. And not really of connection, the point of knowing that there is more. So now the 8th chakra, where is it and what does it do? The 8th chakra is hovering about 1 foot above your crown. So it's right here somewhere. What is it doing and what is it connecting? It basically, it's the realm of your activity. So it's now we're going into little hard things to verbalize because we're getting more quantum and more energetic. So that was easy because we just went through it, we know what they do, we know what the colors they correspond to. Here, and you will understand why it's hard for us to connect to them in a little bit. So, 9th chakra is about several feet above, and basically it is the connection to the atmosphere and connection to the breathed orb of the earth. So through the 9th chakra, we are connected to the energy of the earth. So think about that. I'm going to let that soak a little bit because why indigenous people are so aware of what's happening in the nature. They can easily predict the rain that will come in 10 minutes or in a month. They're connected to the energy of the earth. And also they can communicate and cause the rain if they need it. So it's quite amazing what can be done. So let's go forward. The chakras 10, 11, and 12 are much further out. It's beyond our imaginable perception how far they are. So the 10th chakra is basically it's plugged in somewhere in the solar system. So this is our connection in the solar system. The Earth is part of it. By the way, how many planets are known in the solar system? 12. It was always thought that it's 9, but it's 12. And even if they thought that it's 10, I know it's 12 because that's how the universe is designed. This universe is designed, the magic number 12. So, and there's a reason behind it. We're not going to get into it, it's a different lecture. So, the 11th chakra is moved out into the galaxy, pretty much. So the 11th chakra is the chakra that's connected to the Milky Way, to the universe, which solar system is part of. And we're connected to that too. The 12 is very simple. It's basically the connection to God. The 12 is anchored somewhere in the universe. We can't imagine it because it's not really a physical location, but it's a connection to the creative source. So just keep that in mind. Now, talking about the DNA now, going back, we were taught that it's, well, here's a definition that actually I looked up. Forgive me for my ignorance, and there's much more to it than I jotted down this morning, taking it from the internet. But the definition of DNA is a molecule composed of 2 chains which coil around each other to form a double helix, carrying the genetic instructions used in growth, development, anything that's needed for the biological development of living organisms. DNA stores biological information. The 2 strands of DNA run in opposite directions and are thus anti-parallel. So, larger part of DNA, more than 98%, for humans it states right there in the definition, is non-coding, meaning that these sections do not serve as patterns for protein sequences. And that's true. This is scientifically, and there's nothing contradictory with what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 98 other percent. So, it's very well hidden information. And again, take this with open mind, do your own research. The double helix that we were taught and we could actually see under the microscope is the only thing that we can see. But there are 10 more helixes which are there. Helixes, and I'm talking, so if you can imagine the double helix, imagine the 12 strings intertwined in an amazing divine motion and intercommunicating, interconnected all the time. So think how much power if we knew what 2 helixes can do, and think about the 12, what that could do. Each, I want to talk about the light a little bit before we're going to get into 12 layers of DNA. So we are all, DNA carries the coding for the genetic material in its helixes and made of light-encoded filaments which carry vast information of data and information, and your body is filled with them. So imagine the fiber optic, right? It might be a good analogy. The fiber optic cable that basically can deliver information instantaneously from one place to another. So now imagine that we are just wired with that. We are wired with light. Each molecule, each DNA particle carries this gigantic bank of information in it. So keep that in mind. The light encoding filaments are the tool of light, the expression of light, and part of light. So it's inseparable with the whole thing. So I'm just loading you with concepts here. And now let's get to the 12 layers of DNA. Because each, let's put it this way, each helix of DNA, it's not really proper to say that, because there's more to it and the meaning is deeper, is related to each chakra. So, going forward you will understand why did I mention that. So, I will give out, we have a printout, so you can easily relate to what I'm talking about, the 12 layers of DNA. I give you some way to distribute. For you.
And keep in mind too, when they talk about the 12 layers, it's not like a layer cake. It's not like there are actually 12 layers. We have to wrap this around our human mind somehow, and we can relate to numbers and we can relate to layers. These are so intertwined, it's kind of like a soup, where everything is together, and you can't say, well, just take the salt out of the soup. You can't, it's all blended together, but they put it in the 12 layers just so we can kind of wrap our minds around some kind of form.
Yeah, because for humans it's very much easier to have a structure, and structure we get with numbers. And the numbers that are given here, 1 through 12, is not really the numbers of importance, or it's not going, okay, the number 1 is not that important, wait till you get till the 12. Not at all. It's more numerologically important. All the numbers mean something. We're going to throw some numerology into that as well, and you will see how that works amazingly. And if we have time, I need to stay focused because, and I don't want to get political, so that's very important for me to stay on the topic, because this 12 layers of DNA just opens the whole truth of the universe and of the being. That's why I was very nervous today, before delivering this information, because it just was the top of all the concepts that I knew before. And for some people, it's natural and accepting, but again, it's controversial and it's metaphysical. So if you want to run it through your analytical system, it's not going to work. There's nothing to analyze. It's either it resonates or it doesn't. So with this in mind, the layers of DNA, 12 layers, are divided for our better understanding into 4 groups of 3. So each group has a name. So we're going to start with the grounding layers, which are layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. And just also to throw this in, and it's significant because we speak words, we do languages on Earth. Each word has specific vibration. So the layers of DNA, as it was presented by Lee Carroll, as it was revealed to him, correspond to Hebrew name of God. There's various names of God. What is name of God? It's just attribute of God. You know, there's God is one, and then there are various attributes, various properties, which are expressed through Hebrew language. Why? Because it states that the current core spiritual language of the earth is Hebrew right now. It's one of the ancient languages that is remembered to humanity. There were much more ancient language, which actually the layers 7, 8, and 9 will share with them. So each word has vibration. The Hebrew words have this vibration of this DNA layer. It's hard to comprehend, but we can talk about it, further if you want to drill into it a little more. I just want to lay out the concept, and then we can open conversation. So, layer number 1, the biological layer, or it's also called the tree of life. So this layer represents the biological double helix. We talked about it in the beginning. It is the master biological record of this lifetime. So we didn't do introduction, we don't know whether you believe in multiple lives or you think that all this complexity of human beings just being born once and that's it. But again, it's a preference, it's a belief system, and for humans it's very hard to change the belief system because it's a habit. So numerologically, this is layer number 1. Therefore, number 1 stands for the new beginning. So it's a beginning. It's like the concept of the beginning, layer number 1. It is 4-dimensional, and how do you explain 4-dimensional? Well, no, 3D, right? 4D is 1 dimension above. I can't explain that. It's quantum. It just, you feel the vastness of it. So, layer number 1 has the basically instruction set that communicates to other 11 layers. So it has that instruction set that communicates to all 11 layers. So 3% of the instructions is the human genome. So that's pretty much in line what the definition on the internet is, that 97%, 98% is, we don't know what it is, because it's energy and it's not seen by the microscope and it's not biochemical that can be cracked by humans at this level. So 3% of the instructions of this human genome are for the protein encoded layers. The rest is a massive interaction with the remaining interdimensional layers of DNA. So I will briefly say the Hebrew name for this layer. Just it says Ketef Etz Chaim. So it stands for the tree of life. So tree of life is our lifetime here on Earth right now. So it's the root, right? So you can maybe start corresponding with the chakras a little bit. See if that is in line with the concept of being grounded. And again, the first 3 layers, grounding layer. Second layer, life lesson. It's a life lesson prayer or divine blueprint. Let's dig into it a little bit. So the layer 2 of DNA has been described as the human being's life lesson. Life lesson. Does it sound like karma? But it's not. It's not karma at all. Basically, it has nothing to do with it. Instead, it's an energy placed upon you that some have called purpose. So purpose and karma, quite two different things. So layer 2 is the purpose. So whatever your past lives have put together as a puzzle, representing things you have not yet accomplished, actually becomes your life lesson. Because what you did in the past, you don't need to repeat it again. So there's something that you haven't done, and perhaps you struggle with, that's your life purpose, and that's something that you need to accomplish this lifetime. So that's layer number 2. So this relationship to the it has relationship interdimensional to the interdimensional layer 8. And we'll talk about 8. Right now I know it's a lot of information and it doesn't make sense why with number 8 and but you know, layer 2 plus layer 8, you know, equals to number 10. So again, that brings you to the 1, which is the beginning. So this layer again is talking about the new beginning. So this is layer 1 and layer 2. The way it is pronounced in Hebrew, Torah, Eser, Sfirot. And it's interpreted as divine blueprint of law. And you know, the Jewish friends probably know Torah. Torah is the law, is the something that every Jew is studying in school. It's so there is some correspondence. It's basically the law of the life here. Layer number 3, ascension layer. And check it out. You know, we're just talking about grounding layers. Yet the 3rd layer of the grounding layers is ascension layer already. So just grasp that. So layer 3 is the ascension layer. However, it's only the 1 which points to the interdimensional layers that really provide ascension status. So it's a direction, it's a vector. The number 3 is a catalyst in numerology. And it works with DNA layer number 6. Layer number 6, we'll get to it, is the layer of prayer and communication. It's probably one of the most important for humans layer, and we'll get to that, we will understand exactly why. So this creates a 9, so 3, layer 3 plus layer 6 is 9, which means the completion in numerology. It also, somehow, it is related to the pineal gland. And again, we always talk about pineal gland as connection. So it's a tool, it's a method, you know, of ascension. Ascension is being just more aware of the universe and become one with it. So that completes the grounding level. Let's go to the next set, which is the human divine layer. Is it how it's stated here on your, yeah?
Yep.
Human divine, yes. Okay. So layer number 4 and layer number 5 cannot be separated. As a matter of fact, nothing can be separated. They all intertwine. But layer 4 and 5 is just one unit together. So these 2 layers are interdimensional, Akash. Now we didn't talk about Akash. Let me get to the whole statement and then we'll get into it. So, or your record of who you are in the universe and where you have been. It's also your name that's going to get more metaphysical than you can think of. It's also your name in the crystal, in the cave of creation. How does that sound? Together, these layers, 4 and 5, equal to number 9. 4 and 5. It's a completion. So it's a one unit. The way it sounds in Hebrew is Urim Vetumim, which stands for the light and power. So let's talk about Akash. Who doesn't know what it is? Or knows what it is? Okay. Akash, well, it kind of said it a little bit. It's the library of experiences, of lifetimes that you have ever been through. And again, it's very hard to verbalize it because it's so much more than just experiences. It's the energy, the chunk of energy that is attributed to you and is belonging to you. And it is recorded, so it doesn't go anywhere. And interestingly enough, you know, humans are drawn to crystals enormously, and crystals are known to store information. Why people resonate to this or that crystal? There is a specific information that's in that crystal that's, as a matter of fact, well, no, I'm not going to go there. Okay. I was talking about supercomputers, that it's very easy and it's already, the technology is there. And all it is, it's based on crystal. You take the crystal, it stores so much information in it that you don't need any chips. So you just use the crystal, and the technology is there to harvest this energy and to store it there. And but I'm not going to go there. And there are reasons why we're not having it yet. All right, so that was layer number 4 and 5. So they go together. Layer number 5, they are actually responsible for life lessons, once again, and they relate to layer 6. Again, that layer 6, the higher self, there are only 2 DNA energy groups that are doubled, 4 and 5, and then we're going to get to 7 and 8, which are also go together. So the way it is pronounced in Hebrew is Aleph Etz Adonai. So it stands for, and again, when I say the meaning of it, in this case it stands for core crystal energy. It's not really the translation of Hebrew words or Hebrew letters, it's the meaning behind it. It just, how do I explain it? But I think you feel it. It's not translation.
And it's the sound. It's the sound that the words make.
Yes.
That produce that same energy.
Thank you. All right. Layer number 6.
Yes, I do.
Very special. By far my favorite, even though none of that exists without each other. Prayer and communication. Higher self. So layer 6 is the higher self layer. It is prayer and communication layer, critical to everything divine. It is the conduit, the pipeline. It works best with layer 3, which is layer of ascension out of the grounding layers. Numerologically, a 6 means communication, balance, and harmony. And yes, 6 is your
Third
eye, chakra-wise, right? So your intuition. And why am I resonating with it so much? We know how if we structure our prayer correctly, request, desire, which is the same thing, how we can easily manifest it. So this is it. This is your prayer and communication level. So through that, you communicate to, first of all your body, cells, to the universe, to divinity, to the creative source. So this is it. This is the pipeline. And listen to that. The way it sounds in Hebrew. Now, if I was able to learn Hebrew when I was a kid, that would have been good. But I was born in Russia, so there was no Hebrew schools there. But it says, Echayer Asher Echayer. Echayer Asher Echayer. You see how 2 surrounding words are the same? And listen to the meaning of it. I am that I am. Does it resemble you anything, perhaps from the Bible stories? I am that I am. How powerful that thing is. So level 6. I don't want to spend more time with it just because we don't have. But there's so much more that we can talk about just on that level 6.
Well, and just for those of you who have studied the Bible and follow the Bible, in the whole Bible, I am that I am are the only words in total capitalization that have been said from the source of God. So in the whole Bible, that's the only thing God ever says, is I am that I am. So it's very important
it was
meaning.
depicted in Hebrew, which is Achaya, Asher, Achaya.
Same thing.
Same thing. All right. Now, layer 7, 8, and 9. How did we call it here? The Ascended Master layer. We can also call it the Ancestry layer. The layer of our parents.
Ancient ancestors.
But let's talk about our parents, because we know that we all have biological parents. Now take a bigger approach and look at the humanity as a child. Would you assume that perhaps humanity has a parent, somebody or something created the humanity on Earth? So that's what we're talking about here, the ancestral layers. And we can get more specific because we do have information, but who that is and where they came from. But let's admit that because it's a whole new topic. And we might scare you even more. So ancestral layer. Level 7 is revealed divinity, extra-dimensional sense. Let's talk about that a little bit. Level 7 is one of 3 ancestral layers. It is part of an important pair, 7 and 8. As I mentioned, the 4 and 5 go together, 7 and 8 go together. It is a divine... Let me get this correct because I don't want to mislead you. So this is one of these 2 given layers to us by our ancestors as divine complement to the Earth's normal DNA progression. In other words, we would be developing, as we were, yet something happened in the past. It was a little intervention, and that speeded up the evolution of humanity enormously. So these 3 layers are responsible for that. So just saying. So there is a Hebrew name to it, which stands for Kadumah Elohim. Elohim is another name for God in Hebrew. It stands for revealed divinity. Also, it has the vibrational analogy in a more ancient language that was provided. And the way it sounds is Hoa Yahweh Maru. Hoa Yahweh Maru. Basically, it's Hoa Yahweh Maru. It's a kind of DNA home language. And the word Yahweh stands for mastery. So we'll meet that word in the next layer, which is number 8. Number 8 is the layer of wisdom and responsibility. Think about it. Wisdom and responsibility. Master Akashic record. Let's go through the definition quickly, and then we'll come back to what I mean by wisdom and responsibility. So layer 8 is one of 3 layers that we're just discussing of our ancestry. It is also part of an important pair, 7 and 8, as I discussed before. These are the ancestry pair layers. So this one particularly is giving to us as a divine complement to Earth normal DNA progression, as I mentioned. And the way it sounds in the language that it was given, it's Yaki Yawi Fractua. Yaki Yawi Fractua. So it stands for the record of the masters. In Hebrew, it sounds Rashev Baravot, the riders of the light. So think about what does it mean to be a master, like conceptually. A master usually has enormous wisdom, and when you have wisdom and knowledge, you don't abuse this knowledge or wisdom. That's what makes you a master. So that's why it's called wisdom and responsibility. You're responsible for this knowledge of connection to the universe, light, and you're responsible to carry it and spread it out, and not to take advantage of it for your personal use, because you can easily manipulate others by having this incredible knowledge. But why would you? That's a different question. Okay, level number 9. It's by far humans' favorite layer. It's the healing layer, which we all so relate to easily and need it. Also, it corresponds to the flame of expansion. And flame of expansion is a violet flame of Saint Germain. So it's a different realm, but it's the same realm. They're just all intertwined, and it's also part of our DNA. So that's what we're talking about here. These are all layers of DNA, even though it sounds like a story now. Yeah, it's a full description through words what the energy of DNA is and the layers are. So the layer 9 is the healing layer, but it's very human layer. It is the one that is responsible for miraculous healing, and is the antenna of DNA in an interdimensional way that talks to layer 1, the biological layer, that sometimes needs to be fixed, right? So this is the communication, and provides the 4-dimensional response to the human body, which is a healing, what we call a healing. It is also represented by the violet flame of Saint Germain. Some call it intelligent human cell activation. So it listens for harmony. So I like how it's described. So the layer is listening.
This is your internal Alexa. Alexia, the little thing from Amazon. You have that inside of you. This is the part of DNA that is always listening. So when you're saying a prayer, when you're talking to yourself, whatever that self-talk is, that is the layer that turns on, and it activates your lower layers. And so when you say, oh, I can't do this, it's listening, and it turns on those layers. You can't do this. When it says, oh, I am so sick, I'm sick and tired, it turns on those layers to make you sick and tired. So when you say, I'm healthy, I'm grateful that I am healthy, it's listening, and it goes, okay, you're healthy, and it turns on the layers that make you healthy. So it is actually, they've done studies on this, and it is the key. People that have spontaneous remission and get healthy are the ones who, when they are the sickest, are grateful for what they are going through, and they say, I am healthy, I am cured, I'm whole. And it turns on that layer because it is always listening to you. And so it's very, very important what your self-talk is and how you present it. So when you say, I don't want to be sick anymore, it hears sick, and it turns on the sickness. So when you say, I am healthy, even if you don't feel that you are, it turns on that healthy layer. So just think about it. Every time you're saying something, your Alexa comes on, and it's doing exactly what you're telling it to do. So be very, very careful with that.
So the way it takes place actually is quite profound. In a way, you're healing yourself by creating a change in your DNA, because spontaneous remission is nothing but that. You're changing your DNA. So through the Akashic records, and we already went through Akashic records, all your lifetimes, all that you are. So it's very interesting how it happens, and again, that's for our understanding, and there's so much more that takes place. You could sort into your Akashic record and find the purest DNA that was ever yours. So you go there in the bank, in the library, and you pick the best possible DNA that has been there for you by the divine blueprint. Place upon the attributes of your current health. So what you do, you can superimpose that blueprint to your current state. That's what layer 9 is all about, basically healing the Akash. So you heal the Akash, you heal yourself instantaneously. That's why people can explain, spontaneous remission, you're gonna die. All the doctors said, yeah, something happened to you and you walked away and you're healthy. So, there. It's just for you to be aware of what you are and what you're capable of. The way it sounds in Hebrew, help me God to say it. Shekiyah Esh, which is the flame of expansion. So it's expanding. Alright, now we're getting to the very interesting part, the last 3 layers, which are God layers. Very simple, God layers. So also they called the action layers. The action layers. So let's talk about it a little bit. The layer number 10 is called Divine Source of Existence. The call to divinity, recognition of God in you. Does it resemble maybe the teaching of Jesus? Perhaps. Let's go further. Layer 10 is also called the divine source of existence. So, number 10 reduces to 1 in numerology. Again, it indicates the energy of a new beginning. It is the first of the divine God layers that represents the call to understanding your divinity. So, call to understanding. We need gradually approach that. The God layers are action layers because they facilitate the divine within, thereby facilitating enlightenment and remembrance of who you are. I will stop there for a minute because we're talking about 2 helixes, 12 helixes, and people say, why is it even important and why, we don't hear? But that's my question to you then. Why is it that you don't remember who you really are? You're born completely helpless. There's nothing, as a baby, there's nothing you can do. I mean, look at animals. I mean, the horse is giving birth, in a couple hours, that little horsey knows what to do. Knows how to feed, little human knows nothing. It's like incredible. Why? I'm not going to answer that. You can answer that. Okay. So maybe running on 2 helixes is not that, a healthy experience. The way it sounds in Hebrew, the layer number 10, is Vaikra, the call to divinity. So, the call to divinity, connection to it. Okay, layer number 11. Most misinterpreted, let's not say misunderstood, misinterpreted layer. It's called the wisdom of divine feminine, the compassion layer. So layer 11 is not about goddess energy. It's not even about the feminine energy. So instead, it's indicated that the wisdom of divine feminine is the energy of pure compassion. Pure compassion. And is what is missing in the duality right now, balance of the earth at this moment. So this compassion variable, the compassion attribute is missing, and we see what's happening on earth because of that. So this layer has basically became enhanced in the early 2000s. just because the Earth is going through a specific restructuring as well.
I call it the Mother Teresa layer.
Yes.
So when you want to
Teresa.
think pure divine compassion, Mother Teresa, she had to have that layer turned on.
Mother Mary, and as a matter of fact, the wise priests in Christianity, they know about this feminine divinity, and they were worshiping Mother Mary. They were not. They knew how important this mothering, nurturing energy is, and there's nothing to do without that. So, human beings with this layer enhanced and balanced, with masculine and feminine duality energy, are basically at harmony and peace. So, that corresponds to our first Reiki principle, that just for now I am in peace. So just for now I have perfect balance of masculine and feminine energy within ourselves, with full of compassion. So, and the way it is pronounced, that's a tough one. Okay. Chachmah, Micha, Hallelu. You know that right?
Very
Thank
good.
you.
And this is why he's doing it. I'm Norwegian. I would be wonderful. He does it very well.
Chachmah, Micha, Hallelu. So wisdom of divine feminine. That's what it stands for. And level number 12. We got to that part. How are we doing on time here? Oh, level number 12. Give me 5 more minutes. It's the God layer. God. Capital G-O-D. The mighty God, the God in you. No separation. It's all quantum. So layer 12 is very simple. It's the God layer, the most divine, and truly the layer which is the God within. It's emphasized. There are many divine layers, but this one is 12, the last and highest in vibration of all of them. What does it do? Don't look for these layers to do anything, as a matter of fact. None of the divine layers do anything. It doesn't do more than what your home does for you. What does the home do? It provides you with peace, with shelter, feeling of being home. So that's what these layers are all about. So let the God there be home for all of you. And the way it's pronounced in Hebrew, and my Hebrew friends will resonate with it, El Shaddai. El Shaddai. God Almighty. So that's what I wanted to share with you. So again, it's metaphysical, it could be controversial. There is a lot that basically opens up after that. And perhaps that will just get you more aware of what we really are. And when I think about it, all the masters that were on earth, and our beloved Lord Sananda, Jesus, he was the last who gave it a good shot at it. That's what he was teaching. There's no separation. It's all together. So why we don't know about it and why we kind of oblivious about it? Because the bunch of layers of DNA that we just talked about, they're just not activated. It's not that we don't have them. We have it all. All the 12 helices are there. They're just unplugged.
It's like a switchboard, and they just haven't been turned on yet. And mostly because we've been told that they're not there, that they don't work, that it's separate from us, that it is not us. So we've just believed that story. And we're like, okay, all we are is the mechanical machines, and we live our life, and we die, and that's it. And they have not wanted us to know about this other part, because once we understand our creative power and what we can do and what we are capable of, all of a sudden we have a lot more strength. And we are all connected. So as one turns on, the next 2 turn on, next term, and the next 4, and the next. So we spread out. We totally spread out because we're like that soup. And so as soon as one starts getting activated, the whole soup starts getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So even just being here today, your little internally Alexa is going, yes. You know, I hear you. So they're all getting turned on. So you can just imagine this huge bubble over Kunjani just starting to glow and getting turned on. And this is just spilling out into the community. So as you walk around today, you're going to be these little beams of light that something just turned on today. And you're going to be expanding that to the people that you're next to, that you're with, just by being who you are and knowing that you're that. So it's kind of scary at first when you think about it, because it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. You know, you've got all of this in you, and we're all connected. There's no separateness. But when you start to understand, oh, this is me. This is my nature. This is who we are. Then it becomes very comforting that we can do anything we want to do. And our little life situation here on Earth kind of becomes like a sitcom. It's like, really, you know, I'm getting stressed over my grocery list, or I'm getting stressed because my lawn is too long, or I'm getting, you know, these very simple little humanistic things that they like to keep us busy and worried about, so we're not thinking about the big picture, which is so much bigger than how long our lawn is or what we have to buy at the grocery store.
Yeah, so this topic really opens up a lot of other topics that we can talk about, because, you know, Karen mentioned they don't want to stay. You know, who they? We can open the whole Pandora box and share this information too. But you can do your own research. And at some point in human history, the DNA has been altered. I'll just say it, because it's one less information that you need to search for.
We're big GMOs.
So yeah, we are all GMOs.
They've messed with us. We're
It's
GMO.
not really our fault that we don't remember who we are. We don't know where we came from. It's like we don't know our ancestors. We don't even know. Well, I'm not gonna go there.
But what we can tell you is this book that we're referencing, Lee Carroll, he does speeches all over the world, basically, and leads groups. And so he's coming to Miami again in December. And he has very profound things that he says, and he's actually been meeting with heads of state. He's met with United Nations. He's on very important counseling boards, and they've asked for his advice and because this is just one part of what he teaches, and so
and the way he teaches,
he's very funny.
To the higher self, to all this wisdom. That's what healers do. How do healers heal? They just connect to your higher self and do the negotiation on the higher level. That's it. Just let the work be done up there.
Yeah, and they've taken notice of him because the things that he's been saying and the things he's been talking about for 20, 30 years, some things that he said many years ago have happened and they've come true. And it's not that he is like Nostradamus or anything like that, but he's just like, he says this is where humanity is going, this is where it's going to happen.
There's very high potential of certain things happening,
and they take note of that and they're listening to him. So he's not a woo-woo little, magic wizard sitting in a cave somewhere. He's, out there in what we consider the real world and teaching this stuff. So that book is very well written, and it incorporates a lot of what he says and incorporates a lot of his channelings in there.
Yeah, the 12
and it's very easy to read. I think I read through half of it in like a day. It's very interesting reading. And he's got a whole website, Lee Carroll's website. You can get all of his books on there. Interesting, he's written, I think, 14 or 15 books. This is the 12th book he wrote on the 12 layers of DNA.
And it was issued in 2012, so it was divinely orchestrated. And that was the information that we're waiting for. And I've been craving to share this. And I'm just sitting, who can I share that with? Who can I share this information to? But right now, it's the time that I can share it, we can share it with everyone. And it'll go well, because we're more open.
And Lee Carroll, he started out as an engineer. And his wife was very metaphysical, and she was playing crystal bowls and doing sage. And he's like, get that crap out of my office. I don't believe in any of this. What are you doing? And she's like, your energy is bad. I have to do this. And then he just, something hit him. And he's like, really? I need to talk about this? I don't understand it. So they prepared him for this. And he even said that, he had to learn Hebrew. So before he wrote this book, they sent him to somebody to teach him Hebrew. And he's like, yeah, I can understand why, because people are laughing at me when I try to pronounce these beautiful words. But he had to have some sense of knowledge
it's a
of it.
beautiful language, but not when I say it.
It's a difficult language for sure.
But anyways, I'm glad that we were able to share this information. It's a very high-level review, and there's so much more to it. But just to introduce you to that, and
Get you thinking.
Yeah, it's been our desire and passion to share this for years, and today is the day. So thank you for allowing that.
So you are our guinea pigs
Yeah.
for today. Thank you.
So have a great Saturday. Next